how to create a design like this in Affinity Photo. Well, I'm going to show you initially a straight line version of it, but the next one will be a curved design, something like this. So let's just remove that and go over here and the pen tool. That's the key thing, pen tool, select that, and then just add some nodes. And you can add, of course, hundreds and hundreds of them, maybe 10 or 20, up to you. And I'm just adding them in random positions, so just add it like that. Okay, could be anything. Doesn't have to be that design at all. You can maybe make zigzag designs, much, much more. Just go over here again and select the node tool. So with the node tool selected, you can then drag and select all of those nodes. You'll notice along here, you've got various options. I've just got here the fill, just click there, and I've got nothing there. So I've just clicked here. That's the key thing. And also stroke, click there, and you see you've got a gradient. Now you could just use just a single color, but I prefer to go with the gradient. So gradient, and you can see here I've got various stops. So just click that, and I might want to change it, say, to blue or something. You can see straight away you've got that there. And of course you can modify linear, elliptical, just try out different things. I'm going to go with linear. Now the gradient is not great at this point. So if you want, you can quickly go to the gradient tool and just drag across there. You know straight away, I've done that wrong because it's fill, defaults always to that. Undo that and go for stroke instead. And this time, when you drag it, you see it does it properly. So it drags and creates a nice gradient using this gradient here. So you might have to do that. You might not have to. Maybe the gradient is fine without needing the gradient tool. So again, go back to the node tool. And again, make certain all are selected. You'll also notice I've got this. If I just click here, I've got 9.5. You could, of course, vary it. Doesn't have to be. You could have maybe thin, thick. Also, what you can do, go down here to pressure, just down the bottom. So pressure, just click there, and then you can just modify this. And as you change this, you'll notice what happens. It gets thinner like there, or you maybe change this one and so on. You can see it gets slightly thicker. I don't think it's as flexible as the Illustrator width tool, but still, this is pretty decent pressure to change the width of those lines. Now, it's all one single line. What I want is multiple lines or multiple curves. So again, with them all selected, I can just go here. I can also add some additional nodes. So between that one and that one, I can add additional node. Simply just go up here. Split curves after selected. So just click that. And you can see what's happened. It just adds another one in between that one and that one. And you could do that 15 or 20 times. Though now it will create lots and lots of layers once you break it apart. So select them all, make sure they're all selected. And I'm going to go for the second one. And that's going to break the curve. So break the curve, and now it's all been split. And you can see now in your layers, instead of one layer, you've got quite a few. Well, what I can also do with them all selected, I can just go down here to effects. So I can just click this, click effects, and I can go for bevel and emboss or maybe 3D. So they all will get a 3D effect. And you can modify that later as well. You can always tweak it multiple times. You don't have to obviously just go with what you've got at this point. Outer shadow, you can just change that and then you'll see an outer shadow appear. And close. Well, with this, I can now use the 2.3 feature, this one, move tool, and press return or enter. That's on the keyboard, and this panel will appear. And now you can modify this. You can go for duplicate. Now, you don't have to go for too many. Because you've got lots and lots of layers already, this will add hundreds and hundreds of more layers. You might find the machine just stops. Sorry, the application, I should say. I've had it crash a few times when I've pushed it really extreme. So be aware of that. So you might like to save it before you do any further work. So number of copies. You can go here, duplicate. You can turn that on and off. And then number of copies, I'm going to go for, say, 7. Don't want too many, but you could go for 30 or 40, 100. Then you can modify the rotation. Just change that slightly. And as you do that, you can see what happens. It just generates this, rotates all the way around. Now you don't have to go for that. You can also go for scale. Maybe you could reduce it down. Again, rotation there, number of copies, and then you could increase it. Just try it out to see what designs that are created. Maybe something slightly different from this. You can always, at any point, just go up here, and you can click here, enable transform origin. So just click here, and then you can just move it. So just reposition it, maybe something like that. Maybe move it there. Just subtle changes, and also you've got other settings as well. You can always use the move as well as vertical distance and angle. Once you're happy, click OK, and now you've got your design. That's just using your basic standard straight lines. And of course you can always select these individually. They can just be selected here, and you can modify them individually. You can also just go up here, and now there's lots and lots of curves. You go all the way down there, and you can select them all. And you can click here, effects. Just click that, and you can always go to 3D, maybe change it. Maybe change the profile. Just run through it, and different designs can be created very quickly. And close. Now, of course, lots of layers does take a little bit of time to process. If you want to rasterize it now, turn it into a single pixel layer, what you need to do, right click, just go to group, so they're all grouped, and then go to layer, and you can go down here to rasterize. So it's all turned into a single pixel layer, and then you can manipulate it with other filters, or maybe just drag it around, hold down the Alt Option key, and just duplicate the design and create all kinds of complex sort of backgrounds or overlays, and much, much more. Well, I promised a curved version as well. Well, a curved version, much the same. All you need to do is just go over here and again, pen tool, click, and then just drag. So instead of just doing straight lines, you can just very simply just drag that around, create another curved design. Again, you could use a different gradient. You don't have to use this gradient. You could tweak it again. Now, it's a pity, I always think, that the swatches panel doesn't seem to work with strokes. Unless it does, please put in the comments below if you know a way of actually changing the stroke here with the swatches panel. I'd love to know how to do it. It never seems to work for me. So with that, you can see I've created something like that. Just a random set of curved lines. And with that, you can then go here again to the node tool. So select all of those. And of course, also another thing I can do is I can always still click here, go to effects. I can always add a 3D effect just at this point. So maybe 3D or maybe bevel and emboss. Doesn't have to be 3D. Maybe outer shadow, you can just change that. Radius, always put it about halfway. Seems about the best of the drop shadows. And with that, I can do exactly the same as before. I can modify this. So the stroke, I can just go here, maybe change the red. Just click there, maybe go for green. And you can see then you get this green gradient. And also maybe the blue, just click there and maybe go for light blue and so on. And also you can change the opacity as well. Don't have to go, so you can maybe make it like that. So it just sort of becomes more transparent. I'm going to keep it 100%, but that's an option. Also, once you've done that, same as before, you can go here. You can add additional points, or nodes. So click there, split curves. Again, it's just added those in between those nodes. You've got another node. Okay, makes sense. You select them all, so they're all selected, and then you can break it. And now you've got that. Well, with that, you can see now you've got all your curves here. You've got different colours, whole load of different designs. You can do exactly the same as before. Press return or enter on the keyboard and the panel will pop up as long as you select the move tool. So move tool, you've got that. And then you've got rotation. And you can rotate it. Number of copies, duplicate, you can always turn that on. And you can see then, if you just crease it. Now you can push it too far, maybe but you've got to decide, is that the design you want? And you might decide, you know what, I don't really like that black. But you can always change it later. Always tweak it, because right, just going to go with this. Number of copies, 22, perfectly reasonable. Rotation, maybe reduce that down a bit. Yes, I think that's nicer. And click OK. And again, you've got lots and lots and lots of curves. If you push it too much, it does actually sometimes really go quite slow. So curves, just select all of those. They're all selected. Again, go over here, you can go to the node tool, and you can see now you've got all these nodes selected, but also you've got access back to the stroke again. So just click here. You decide, you know what, I want a red design there, or the black. I don't like the black. Maybe I just click there and maybe go for red instead. Let's just change that, and you can see what happens. You get the red design there. Obviously, you can't see it because of all the nodes are selected. You've got that there, and you can do exactly the same with the effects. So click effects, go maybe there, bevel and emboss, and you can just tweak that as well. Click profiles, change that, soften, change direction, and much, much more. And again, that's applied to all of the layers. So obviously it takes a bit of time to process. Click close. Again, all of those layers have been selected. Right click, you can group. So you can group them all and you can see your end result. And that group, of course, you can then rasterize. So again, layer, and you can then rasterize there. So it's all turned into a single pixel layer. Okay, obviously it takes a bit of time to process. In fact, it hasn't done it yet. Yes, finally, it's done it. So you've got this pixel layer, and then you can manipulate it. Again, you can do exactly the same as before. Go to the Move tool, and then you can move it around, hold down the Alt or Option key, drag and duplicate the design. Or maybe, just with that design, you can always use exactly the same feature. Press Return or Enter on the keyboard. Panel pops up, as long as you've got the Move tool selected. That's the key thing. And then you can change the scale. Maybe go 100%. You don't have to go that way. You can always go the other way. And also duplicates. And you can just change that. Maybe rotation as well. And then you can also modify this as well. Number of copies. As you can see, pushed out a bit more, maybe a bit less there. And then click OK. And you've got these. And of course, what you can do, select them all. You can also use blend modes. So just go down there and just try out whether, I mean, sometimes I always find lighting or something really works really well, nicely combined. You can create some truly unusual designs very quickly using that. Exactly the same as before. You can right click, group, and of course you can right click again and rasterize or use the layer menu. I often use the layer menu. So, and rasterize, and then apply filters, effects to that. So maybe distort, deform, twirl, etc. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Always great to hear from you. Bye.